Hi there, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning simple equations, okay, so simple equations. And under simple equations, we'll be learning about equations with unknowns on both sides, okay, so equations with unknowns on both sides. Now, as the lesson progresses, anything you don't understand, be sure to get across to your tutor who would be more than happy to help. And yeah, let's jump right into the lesson. So simple equations, equations with unknown on both sides. Now, in the last lesson, we learned about solving simple equations by dividing both sides. Okay, so for example, if you had an equation like this, remember the target is always to get your unknown alone on the left. So basically, you need to move everything around your unknown over to the right. Okay, so if you had 3w plus 5 equals 17, okay, you would be looking to move plus 5 over to the right. Okay, and when you do that, plus 5 becomes minus 5, okay? And you have 3w equals 17 minus 5. So you move plus 5 over to the right, it becomes minus 5. And you have 3w equals 17 minus 5. And you have 3w equals 12. And now you have a number multiplying your unknown, and you need to get rid of that number. So what you do is you divide both sides by that number. So you have 3w equals 12. We're going to divide both sides by 3, and when we do that we end up with w on the left, and 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we have w equals 4, and that is how you solve a simple equation. Now, we do have situations where we have our unknown on both sides of the equation, okay, and here's an example. So you have 4r minus 5 equals r plus 16. Again, we've been asked to find r. So 4r minus 5 equals r plus 16. Find r. Now, what we need to do here is we need to move our numbers over to the right, and our unknown, we need to have all our numbers on the right and all our unknowns on the left. Okay, so we start by moving minus 5. We don't like minus 5 there, so we're going to move minus 5 over to the right. So we have, and becomes plus 5, so we have plus 5 over on the right. Okay, and then the next thing we have, we then have 4r equals r plus 16 plus 5. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this r over to the left. Okay, so we move this r over to the left, and it becomes minus r. Okay, so we moved r over to the left, and what we left with in the end is we have 4r minus r equals 16 plus 5. Okay, so we had 4r minus 5 equals r plus 16. Okay, we moved minus 5 over to the right. We started with that, it became plus 5, and then we moved r over to the left, it becomes minus r. So if you look closely now, you'd find that we have all the r's on the left and all the numbers on the right, and we just work the r's here. We have 4r minus r will give you 3r. Okay, 4r minus r will give you 3r, and you have 16 plus 5 as 21. Okay, you divide both sides by 3, and what you have in the end is you have r equals 7. Simple, straightforward. So basically, when you're faced with an equation that has a certain unknown, you're given unknown on both sides of the equation, what you need to do is you need to move all the numbers over to the right and all the unknowns, all the terms of the unknowns over to the left. Okay, and then you sum of the left and the right hand side, and then you go ahead and divide both sides by the number multiplied the unknown, and you should end up with your answer, in this case r, as 7. Okay, now here's an example. Example 1. Now we've been asked to find m if 3m plus 8 equals m. Okay, so we actually have a situation where we have our unknown m, instances of our unknown m on the left as well as the right hand side. Okay, and basically to solve this, like I said, the first thing you need to do is you need to move that number, in this case plus 8, over to the right. It becomes minus 8. Okay, and then you have 3m equals m minus 8 because we've moved plus 8 over to the right. Okay, and now the next thing we want to do is we want to move this m over to the left. Okay, and what it becomes, m over to the left becomes minus m. And what you would have in the end is you have 3m minus m equals minus 8. When you solve that, you have 2m equals minus 8. And you could just go ahead and divide both sides by 2, and you should end up with m as -4, because -8 divided by 2 is -4. Very simple, very straightforward. Another example. Example 2. In example 2, we have find h if 4h minus 2 equals h plus 7. Okay, so find h if 4h minus 2 equals h plus 7. And then we just go ahead, 4h minus 2 equals h plus 7. What are we going to do first? First thing we need to do is we need to move minus 2 over to the right. Okay, so 4h minus 2 equals h plus 7. We move minus 2 over to the right, and it becomes plus 2. Okay, and then you have you have 4h equals h plus 7 plus 2. Okay, and now you're going to move h over to the left. Okay, so your unknown, you move it over to the left, and it becomes minus h. So you have 4h minus h equals 7 plus 2. All right, and now you just go ahead and solve. 4h minus h equals 3h. 7 plus 2 equals 9. We divide both sides by 3. We have our h as 3. This is really easy. One final example. Example 3, all you have to do is move the number to the right, move the unknown to the left, and from that point on, you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so here's another example. And then we have find n if 11 plus 9n equals 6n plus 13. Okay, and now we're going to move 11 over to the right. Okay, and this becomes minus 11. Okay, and we're left with 9n equals 6n plus 13, 6n plus 13 minus 11. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and move 6n over to the left. Okay, and we have minus 6n. And basically what we have in the end is we have 9n minus 6n equals 13 minus 11. And we have 9n minus 6n is 3n. 13 minus 11 is 2. And we just go ahead and divide both sides by 3, and we should end up with n. 3n divided by 3 is n, and 2 divided by 3 would leave you with 2 over 3. And that's it. Very simple, very straightforward. And that would bring us to the end of this very simple lesson. Okay, solving simple equations where you have the unknowns on both sides of the equation. And we just go, you can go ahead now and attempt questions on the worksheet. Bye for now.